guess what? The best way to focus on something isn't actually just to stare at it harder, it's to eliminate everything else so that the only thing left to focus on is that one thing. Now, I want to tell you how you can use this in your own life or fishing charter business to get more of what you want and less of what you don't want, because let's face it, every now and then life likes to slap us in the face and overwhelm us with a bunch of things to do. And I know the feeling because sometimes it feels like I have 70 things to do on my to-do list, but I've learned more and more that I at least have the tendency to try to get a little bit of everything done rather than just completing one task all the way through. So if I have 10 things on a to-do list, I'll do like 10% of 10 things rather than just doing one thing to 100% and then moving on to the next thing. So it's actually writing things down on your to-do list and then literally crossing out 2 through whatever number of things you have to do so that you're just left with number 1. And then you just do number 1 and then you move on to number 2, which is the new number 1, and everything else gets crossed off. Because when you work systematically like this and complete tasks one by one by one, it just frees up like so much mind share, and at least I don't feel as overwhelmed. And yeah, it's just a way better way to design my life, at least. Because all right, I'll relate things a little bit back towards fishing charters, since that's what this channel is about, but sometimes I like to get off on like a life tangent. So look at it this way: if you have your charters lined up, so you got 5 charters this week, okay? And you like to do things a certain way, so you're like, okay, well, I got this trip on this day, I got to get the boat ready for this, and on this day I got to go catch bait, and then on this day I got to go pre-fish this new location to make sure that when I take these clients out at this date and this time that everything's good, and then I got to do this, that. Like, there's all these different things. Just chunk it down largely at first so that you have like your monster list of everything that you need to complete in the week. And then you say, okay, what's the most relevant? Like, what is the thing that would move the needle the most? And then you put that at the top of the list, and then you work on that one thing until it's done or until it's completed, and then you move on to the next. And I'll actually say one of the biggest hacks for me was just deletion. Like, just straight up delete it. Like, just get rid of it. Because a lot of times I put so much stuff on my to-do list, whether it's actually on paper, on my phone, or in my head, or whatever, and I'll just be looking through it, and I'm like, all right, I have 27 things to do today. And then I can just easily delete about 20 of them, because it's just stuff that like doesn't even matter. Like, just putting new swivels on my jigs. Like, is that something that's really gonna matter right now? Like, probably not. I can just delete that. Whereas, is pre-fishing a new location that I haven't fished in 6 months for clients pretty important? Yeah, it is pretty important. So that goes to the top of the list. So it's really just deleting the stuff that doesn't matter, that somehow you've tricked yourself into thinking you need to do. And yeah, that's pretty much the tangent I wanted to go on today. Moral of the story, summary: if you've made it this far, just delete things off your to-do list, focus on one task, go all the way to completion until it's actually done, and then move on to the next thing systematically, rather than just being spread thin all over the place trying to do everything and really you end up doing nothing.